Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for your greatest support. Let me ask this question: that who really told these people that you must always praise someone no matter what happens, no matter what it does? Hata akifanya kitu kingine cha ujinga, you just have to praise the person simply because maybe ni mkubwa wako ama like I really don't know. I'm saying this, I'm asking this because of what Esther Pasaris is doing. This, I think now this is too much. This one is beyond. You know, you can't keep on praising someone hata kama amefanya kitu kingine. Uko karibu kumpraise hata akienda choo utakuwa unapiga makofi unasema kwamba hongera. Congratulations for going to the for a short call or long call. This is too much. Yesterday, William Ruto was drinking Pepsi. Not yesterday, the other day. I think that was on Thursday. Yeah, on Thursday, William Ruto was drinking Pepsi, as you can see in this photo. And then, what surprised me was that Esther Pasaris, that is the women rep, outgoing women rep of Nairobi County, decided to praise William Samoei Ruto. Like literally, seriously, why would you praise William Ruto because anakunywa soda? Let me read for you what Esther Pasaris said. This is what she said. The president savoring the taste of Pepsi in style. A gesture of support for manufacturing in Kenya and products that create employment for our youth. Not just a sip of a drink, but a sip of hope. Patriotism and economic progress. Yani kukunywa soda, just drinking a soda, a Pepsi, is making Esther Pasaris to use a lot of big English, a lot of a big grammar, simply because she wants to show William Ruto that she supports him. Is it bootlicking? What kind of leaders are these? And then now listen to someone commenting. Wewe ukiendelea hivi naona soon ukimsifu akienda choo. Something like he is determined to poop is a sign, his determination to poop is a sign of resilience amidst tough economic times. It's not just a lump of poops but a symbol of concreteness, patriotism, good gut health and a sign of liveliness. Come on, Esther. I think that is what I was talking about. Ako karibu kumsifu akifanya vitu zingine hata zenye hata zifai. Because you know, truth of the matter is, as a leader, you really need to understand your position. Like you really need to know what to do, when to do it, where to do it, and how to do it. We can't keep on talking about, you can't keep on anything small where usharuka, ushamsifu. With things that even William, you know, Esther Pasaris acts as if she is William Ruto's wife. Things that even First Lady cannot do, Esther Pasaris is doing simply because maybe she's looking for sympathy. She wants to be loved. Anataka kwamba akue karibu sana, anataka kuonyesha sisi wananchi ya kwamba yeye yuko karibu sana na William Samoei Ruto kuliko watu wengine. Let me ask a question. Can Esther Pasaris be that much close to William Ruto than those other women? Esther Pasaris is just a women rep. Can she be much closer to William Ruto than Soipan Tuya? No, nauliza tu swali, sina ubaya. Can she be much closer to William Ruto like Orwoba? Where is Orwoba right now? Remember when William Ruto was pinching Orwoba's cheeks? Who knew or who thought that Orwoba anaweza kafutwa kazi? Sasa hivi Orwoba ako kila mahali akizungumza tu. Who knew? Nani alijua? Kiswahili inauliza kwamba nani alijua? Who knew that all these things that are happening in Orwoba's life right now could happen? Who knew? So this issue of Esther Pasaris thinking that she's the first person to praise William Ruto, I think she'll stop. She really needs to think deeper and maybe style up. Because the more she does these things, the more she looks stupid, let me use that term, and the more she seems to be somebody who has got no job. Ukweli usemwe tu. Unajua wakati mwingine ni vyema tu kusema ukweli. Tuseme tu ukweli. Ukweli uliopo ni kwamba Esther Pasaris is now doing too much. She is chewing more than she can swallow. True, that is the truth. She's really chewing more than she can swallow. And time will catch up with her.
The restlessness sometimes you see in our young people, the impatience that you see in our young people is because they are impatient with the ordinary. They are tired of the usual, of the average. They want us to up our game because there is great potential in our nation. And none other than our young people know that. And that is why we must up our game as leaders and as Kenyans. And with those remarks, it's now my distinct honor.
The second story, fellow Kenyans, is the issue to do with remember the two Somali boys who were arrested after disrespecting the Kenyan flag, have been released on a bond of 50,000 Kenyan shillings each. And this is what the news says: that two Somali minors charged with desecrating the Kenyan flag during a march at Nyayo Stadium and being in the country illegally, freed on 50,000 Kenyan shillings cash bail each. So are you saying now, let me talk about this issue of being in the country illegally. Nataka tuzungumze hapo, tunataka tuelewane hapo kwa being in the country illegally. When people were talking about allowing these Somalis to come in this country, when people were condemning William Ruto opening the borders, allowing these people to come in this country illegally, watu wengi sana, especially those who are in government, thought that maybe Kenya wataki wenzao watu waingie Kenya. Okay. Yes, you opened the border. You said that there will be no vetting. These boys are minors. Yes, walikuja Kenya, but walikuja illegally. It means that they have got no IDs. Hawana kitu ambacho kinaonyesha ama kinaashiria ya kwamba wanapaswa kuwa Kenya. Alafu baada ya kuja Kenya, what they are doing, they are really disrespecting Kenyan flag. Wanakanyaga Kenyan flag. Juzi tulimsikia I don't know who was that. That was talking about was it Cheriot? I think it's Cheriot, not Cheriot. Cheriot was saying that ID sio kitu ya kunyima mtu.
Yani karatasi inaitwa ID ni kitu ya kunyima mtu. Kipande si karatasi peke yake. Hiyo ni kitu ya kufanyia Mkenya ati anafanyiwa kesi. Babu yako ni nani? Nyanya yako sijui ni gani? Hiyo maneno ya upuzi sisi hatutaki tena. Kama kuna maswali mtu anafaa kuulizwa ndiye apewe kitambulishwe, basi iulizwe wa Kenya wote. Sio wa Kenya kidogo wako na fulani peke yake. Si ndio? Na wale ambao walikuwa wanapinga sera hiyo, si nyinyi mnawajua? Si mnajua ni kina nani? Si ni wale wako kwa upinzani wanaongea kule Nairobi. Alafu tuwapate hadi siku moja wamekuja hapa Dadaab kutafuta kura. Si mtapeleka hao mbio ya kimataifa. Wapelekwe mbio kama ngamia ya kuibiwa. Wasijaribu kukuja kuleta mchezo hapa. Na wakati mambo yenu inapangwa wanaleta wasiwasi.
That is what he was saying, that ID is just a paper that you don't need to deny someone. Like ID is not something that you need to ask somebody who is your father, who is your grandfather, who is your mother, all that. But truth of the matter is that you can't survive in a country without IDs. And I think I asked that question, that wherever, and let me ask it again. Wherever you are, in that country where you are, because I know that this video, my channel is being watched by a lot of people, different people. Those who are in Germany, those who are in South Africa, those who are in Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, all sorts of the countries. Dubai, DRC Congo, in Malawi, in Nigeria. That country where you are, I want to ask you a very simple question. Can you really survive without an ID? If you can't survive, or if a foreigner can't survive without an ID in that country, because it is the ID that determines whether that person is a citizen of that country or not, then if somebody cannot survive in a different country without an ID, then why is it that ours is different? Why is it that these people wants to make Kenya look very different? That is why they are comparing Kenya with Singapore. They are saying that Kenya is supposed to be the Singapore of Africa. How can you be the Singapore of Africa? The population of Singapore ni watu wangapi? And the population of Kenya is 50 plus million. Singapore, they are less than 10 million. But now they didn't look at really didn't look at the population. The Singapore leaders decided that they want to bring change to their country. That is why Singapore is far much ahead than unlike Kenya.
Kenya will be the next Singapore. Only tough decisions will get us to the Singapore League. If our leaders worked as hard as our citizens, we'd be the Singapore of Africa. If Singapore made it to the first world, we too can make it. We've heard these lines time and again from our leaders. Apparently, they want Kenya to be like Singapore. Okay then, let's compare. First, the hard numbers. In 2024, Kenya's GDP per capita was about $2,206. Singapore's was roughly $88,500. That's around 40 times higher. Population? Kenya is a nation of 53 to 54 million. Singapore is just over 6 million. Size didn't save us, but smallness didn't limit them. On debt, we strain to service our loans. But while Singapore owes much more on paper, they hold state assets and savings to back it up. How about income from work? Well, the typical full-time worker in Singapore took home a median of about $5,500 a month in 2024. That's about 710,000 Kenya shillings. Here in Kenya, official data shows average earnings are 10 times less, at about 74,000 shillings a month, with entry-level jobs being at an average 30,000 a month. Many more Kenyans are still waiting for their first payslip. How about education and skills? Singapore topped the latest PISA rankings. That's a global assessment of 15-year-olds from different countries to gauge their knowledge and understanding of math, science, and reading. Kenya is not even ranked by PISA. So just how did Singapore do it? Well, they certainly didn't just talk their way into prosperity. They built clean, predictable institutions. Let me explain. Fiscal honesty before fiscal heroics. A credible medium-term plan that matches revenue to realistic spending. Ring-fencing development outlays from the daily political seasons. They also formulated industrial policy that picks problems, not pet projects, that picks the bottlenecks such as power costs, logistics, port clearance, standards, and removes them with deadlines. They basically make exports boringly reliable. They have schools that teach for the economy we actually want. Formal jobs, not formal slogans. They cut the costs of formality. That's e-registration, one-stop tax and compliance. They reward farms that grow payrolls, exports and training hours, not those that can afford the longest motorcades. And on anti-corruption, that is done administratively, not acrimoniously. Digital tenders by default, public contracts and beneficial ownership online. Penalties that arrive swiftly enough to deter the next deal. Singapore has cities that cut friction, minutes saved from port to factory to airport. If a permit takes weeks here in Kenya, it takes just hours there. And now allow me permission to be blunt. None of what they have done was developed by speeches. You see, we can't talk our way to progress. We have to work through it. If words alone were enough, we've talked much more than Singapore ever has. So what's the point of departure? Singapore chose competence over clientelism, measurement over megalomania, and discipline over drama. It chose to count, then to do. We choose too often to announce. Economies do not transform by rhetoric. They transform when the boring things get done, on time, on budget, without kickbacks, so often that it becomes culture. So, while we endlessly promise, proclaim, predict, Singapore chose consistency, competence, and consequence, while we choose, too often, announcements. So I hope we can settle this debate once and for all. No, Kenya is not like Singapore. That's my take.
So the issue of comparing Kenya with Singapore every now and then, here and there, I think it should stop. Tuachane na mambo na Singapore, kucompare Singapore na Kenya kabisa. Let us focus, the leaders should focus in building the nation, building the country. Building the country starts by leaders accepting that they have failed. And after failing, what is it that they're supposed to do to make sure that they make things right? The problem that we have is this. Our leaders know that they've messed up, but they don't want to admit. They don't want to accept that they've messed up. They keep on blaming people for what is not necessary, for what should not even happen. Such kind of things. That is why you find that in the morning they talk about something else, in the afternoon they talk about something else, in the evening they talk about something else. They talk about different things every now and then. Yani ni wale watu wakubadilika, kila wakati wanabadilika ni kama kinyonga. Ushaelewa? Yani kila wakati wanazungumza mambo tofauti. Instead of just sticking to what is supposed to be done. As a leader, this is what I'm supposed to do. I was elected by these people. Now, the reasons why these people elected me is for me to do 1, 2, 3 things to make sure that things run on well. But they don't do that. Why would they do that? That is why they even open borders. They allow foreigners to come into this country to do other things. You know, if these are just young men who are in this country illegally, so how many terrorists are in this country illegally? How many terrorists are in this country? Bado pengine wanajipanga tu. You know, Al-Shabaab might be in this country na sisi wenyewe hatujui. Al-Shabaab wanaweza kuwa kwa hii Kenya na sisi wenyewe hatujui. Kuna tu mipango yao, kuna vitu ambavyo wanavipanga. Itafika wakati ambapo wataamua ya kwamba now enough is enough, let us now attack. They will attack and nobody will prevent them from attacking. And those are the kind of things that William Ruto don't see. Those are the kind of things that our leaders don't see. That is why they talk the way they like. That is why they do things the way they do, because they think that it's up to us Kenyans. They are taking chances, you know, risking lives of people that you are ruling. And when I was asking myself this question, that suppose something happens right now, and by bad luck, several Kenyans die. Hawa viongozi wataongoza kina nani? Hawa viongozi wataongoza kina nani? Tuseme kwa mfano sasa hivi kitu kifanyike tu kwa hatuombi kifanyike, lakini ni mapenzi ya Mwenyezi Mungu tu, ama the way they are opening borders, they're doing 1, 2, 3 tararara, all of a sudden something happens. My question is this: who will they rule? Wataongoza kina nani? I know they've never thought of such kind of things. They've never thought of such kind of things, that who are we going to rule? If something happens right now, who are we going to rule? The last story is about the Baringo by-election. And I've seen a lot of people really supporting Gideon Moi.
Shika hivi kama lock kutoka kwa moja. Haya, acha nisikie hapo. Tutafungua kidogo. Hii kitu. Acha nifungue.
But I have a question. I have a question to ask. Yes, they want Gideon Moi to be the senator. They want to elect Gideon Moi. But my question is this: why is it that in this country we don't really learn, or we don't really mean what we say? Why I'm asking this because you find out that we're talking about not recycling. We don't want to recycle. But then the same people that are talking about stop recycling are the same people who are coming back. They want to recycle. They want to elect wale watu ambao walikuwa uongozini, and there is nothing constructive that they did. Can't we just have a country, a different country, whereby the people that are being elected in these positions are new faces? Can't we have new faces? I don't know. Or is it that the message that we talk about on the internet is different from what our parents are receiving kule mashinani? And if our parents are not receiving this, then how is it supposed to reach them? In news wanapaswa kuipataje? Like, they're supposed to understand that we really don't need these people again. We need new faces, because we've had these people and they've done nothing. Hakuna kitu cha maana ambacho hao watu wamekifanya. So the best thing to do, let us do away with them and bring new faces whom we know can bring change. What is so hard about that, fellow Kenyans? What is it that is so hard about bringing new faces, people that we are sure that we can count on? The people that we are really sure that our now tukiwapea uongozi watatufanyia 1, 2, 3, they are ready for change. They are ready to bring change to our country. What is so difficult there? Nini ambacho ni kigumu hapo? Wacha niulize, ni nini ambacho ni kigumu hapo tu? Because as things are, from the look of things, jinsi ambavyo mambo yapo, it's so hard right now to believe any politician. And I normally say that usiwahi amini mwanasiasa yeyote. Awe ndugu yako, awe ni dada yako, awe ni baba yako, awe ni mama yako, awe ni babu au nyanya, ama mtu wako wa familia yote. Don't ever trust any politician. These people change like chameleons. Today they'll say this, tomorrow they say that, the other day they'll say that. So I think we really need to stop this issue of trusting politicians. Politicians are just the same. Hawana utofauti yote. After all, guys, that is just my thought, and that is all I have for now. Let me also know what you think at the comment section. Don't forget to drop me a comment telling me what you think and where you are watching these videos from. Until we meet again, I have been your host, Doingthis. Bingo.